who says that climate change is a utopia, then I'm going to talk to them. And that's where blockchain can basically help technically, right? Is that effectively every melt has an impact somewhere. Now put captors and put all of it in a blockchain to feel the health of the planet. Now you're going to start having something that no one, and even less Donald Trump, right, can actually question, right? And they might think twice when it comes to oil and all those things, right? So, and you know, technology is just it's just an I would call it an extension of a human mind to a certain level. And this is the perfect example about seeing how does it help people understand, right? So let's say I was born in Kenya, right? So somewhere, you know, West Central Africa, and you know, and then I've spent, I mean, of course, on the coastal side. Now we see things we don't necessarily understand, right? But the reality is that all those things are linked, right? On those fishes and the trees and the way the water has become completely nasty for so many reasons, and the fact that the houses that was on the shore is no longer there says something. What does it? But the point is, now if I have internet and blockchain, and if we all connected and report on the environmental consequences that the Earth is experiencing based on a very epiphenomenon somewhere, thousands of kilometers, then blockchain serves its role, because you can't question that figure out. Thanks.
But you have also to remember, I mean, some actions have created this climate change. So bit by bit, step by step, and creating something step by step now against climate change, again, help to solve this problem. And that's what also very important to understand. So you don't need to go straight away and save Arctic, sorry, but step by step in everyday daily life, those small solutions through the technologies, through different projects can help actually to resolve bigger issue. And this is what we have to come to, and this is what we have to bring to our mind. We have to see it around happening and starting doing it around us, step by step.
Thank you, Yulia. We have to wrap up now, but maybe with one sentence, if all of you can just say the conclusion.
Well, I think, yeah, the social impact, it's also about the impact. Blockchain can also help in impact measurement and impact management, which is something we have not yet touched about. I know Rishi's project In and Out. We've been discussing this for a number of times, and I would say that the piece of blockchain which is probably most elemental to your project is the impact management and the impact measurement, which builds on what Mamadou and Yulia said. It's really, I think that's where the blockchain can even come. And that goes into other, it's not just climate, I mean, it's education, it's social inclusion, eradicating poverty, I mean, all the SDGs that we know exist. Blockchain is an important agent in terms of measurement and managing the impact. So that's what I would say.
So let's imagine, oh no, we have it already. Projects that are really great. We have a technology that is proven. And now let's have a platform where we multiply, where these projects can exchange, when they are not just fighting for themselves, where they can unite in their categories, but when there's like effects over these categories where they can learn from each other. So it creates visibility, more people can join your projects, increasing like the awareness of it. Experts can join, and we all talk about like, oh, I have the knowledge about where my data is used, and it's like, of course I will take all the time to control this metadata about my data and adjust this access, cut off this access, but it's like by hundreds or thousands of projects, like who's going to do this? So we do need this like to do this in a systematical way. For the general public, there's like the people that are the specialists and translate it, like how to access it, how to support them, how to understand them, and also to create circles where these groups can exchange how to even increase their impact. because there's like still so much potential by uniting the powers that we have already.
Thank you very much. She's the last one. Thank you.
Thank you everybody. Beautiful panel. No child in this world, no adults, should ever experience hunger or not feel safe and not experience love. So whatever you do in blockchain or social impact, fill your heart with love and express it in everything you do. That will make a difference.
Thank you.
Thank you all so much. If you would do, we have a photographer here in the room right now? No, they're gone. So guys, our panel is over. Just to let you know, the bombs and police and everything you hear outside is a bit of a demonstration. The whole thing that we said is demonstration. We're not really under attack, although I'm hearing the neo-Nazis, so I will need your protection probably. But I thank the esteemed panel. Thank you all, okay? And we'll continue to our next panel. Thank you so much. Thank you. Yeah, please stand here. You can step forward. Everyone, we're off to our last panel. Our last panel before we start. Iris? 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 Guys, please. Iris, please. People, if we can just take a picture of it. Guys.
Hi, good afternoon again. So stay in the room. It's a bit dangerous outside with the neo-Nazis. You're gonna keep talking about blockchain over here. No, just kidding. But to those of you perhaps who didn't hear me earlier, I think it's the last chance if you are thinking of setting up your company in Switzerland and you're wondering where it makes sense. We're just outside the room on the booth with the big banner saying invest in Western Switzerland. It was extremely interesting earlier during the academia panel. Actually, we had Mr. Jean-Marc Seigneur and we had Professor Brian Ford, who are two very good representatives of what is going on in our region, respectively EPFL in Lausanne and in Geneva. So these are just a couple of examples of the academia, the training work in the blockchain sector happening in Western Switzerland. As I was saying earlier, we have highly innovative companies, a very strong network of advisors, maybe legal or taxation specialists who are able to help you concretize your establishment project. So I hope to see you around, and thank you for your attention.
Of course, if you have friends, if you know someone, it's very, will be very appreciated if you can make the connection, of course, and I know for a fact they will get great service and assistance for coming here. Thank you again, Iris. Thank you so much. Our last panel now, Nelly. Okay, if you can come over. Our last panel will be ICO trends, am I correct? And environmental impact. Oh, no, wait. Are we going for it, right? Nelly? Yeah, ICO trends and fundamentals, discussion and expertise. So please, Nelly, of course, I think you all know, is the co-founder of InMind, our host for this event. So please, round of applause, wake up. Hello, wake up. Thank you, and we will be talking about the fundamental changes and core transformation of the token offering market, due deal and assessment, private and public investments to the ICO sector. So we have, you're presenting your panel? Okay, please call them.
Thanks a lot, Tal. Good evening, everyone. I see that there are quite few people in the hall, but I'm happy to understand that they are not here because they are networking outside, drinking, networking, exchanging contacts, and this is really good. This is the value of the event. But also we try to add some value to the discussions. So, can I ask anyone from our team or colleagues, yes, to find out, because of the delay in the program, a slight delay, and I promise that you will not regret that you are here. We have speakers of my panel waiting outside.
Please take your seat. We're calling them right now. If you can do an opening for the discussion itself on the topic, we're taking care of it.
Thank you very much, Tom. I'm not a professional speaker, so I don't know how to do it. Properly, reglement.
Talk about ICOs,
Yeah, actually, easily. We wanted to make this panel as valuable content-wise and as interactive as possible, because we know that most of you, if not everyone, have your own questions and have deep connection, business connection with this topic. Some of you are startups who use ICO for fundraising reasons, and some of you do not understand what is happening on this market. There are a lot of opinions now where it moves on, and what startups want to know how they can use ICO or new models of fundraising to attract financial resources. Investors want to understand how new mechanisms and regulations in this market can protect their interests, can save their money, can secure their investments. Though my personal opinion, investments are always a high risk. So no regulation can be used, of course, to properly and to bring maximum safety, but you cannot be completely safe in your investments.
We had questions before, specifically, if I can interrupt, about InMind platform. And I think especially from this guy who is half moderating the panel with me, asking who is on InMind, what's InMind. I think if you can give us like a few minutes about InMind, Nelly, what is InMind, what is the platform? I'm not sure everyone here really knows.
May I adjust the question, if you don't mind?
He is adjusting.
Okay, so the adjustment of the question is so let's just have a round of applause for Nelly, because she's the main organizer of this event. Just let's support her.
Thank you.
Okay, so the reason is why I jumped in, because actually I think that outside something like a riot is happening, so we just want to settle down a little bit and just keep calm. I know that InMind, and I am not only alone, a lot of people in the CIS region know that InMind is a network that unites different people from different parts of the stakeholder system. So we can take investors, startups, government, education system, academia, social platforms, and all of the stakeholders around. So let's talk about, not a question and answer, let's talk about how much startups do you expect to be until the end of this year inside InMind? How much investors are there really? And what's going to be upgraded next year? That's very important for us to know, and thanks for sharing this knowledge. May I sit down or I sit back? What?
Of course, you might take your seat.
Okay, thanks.
If Anyone else wants?
Environmental experts, if you need them.
Welcome. Will we have scheduled speakers actually? Okay.
It's a sort of random panel, absolutely.
Yes, actually, if speakers who were expected are not here. Yeah, thanks a lot, Enver, for your question. And until the end of the year, we expect approximately 55,000 of projects. Right now, there are, I think, 47,000, and we are also working very closely with universities in Switzerland. I do not know actually if I may announce it publicly or not, which university we work with. It is Kate, my co-founder, is building this project with universities. So we are working on the new reputation system for the stakeholders in the industry, for startups, for investors, experts, mentors, service providers, the intelligent reputation system, which will allow people to create business activities and online business connections on more trusted and safe way. It has nothing to do with the ICO and the topic of this panel.
You can take ICO now because part of your panel is here. So.
I'm the part of the panel. So let me introduce you at least one speaker which was scheduled on this panel, Yanina Pirovskaya. Yanina is a lawyer from the company RLP Partners from Liechtenstein. She is specialist in the law of Liechtenstein, Switzerland, and she studied and knows a lot of other jurisdictions, so she knows quite well what is happening on the ICO regulation and how to do the proper legal and financial setup. So we were not really supposed to start. Does it work right now? Do you hear me? Okay. We were not really supposed to start with the legal part. We were supposed to start with other trends, but if I'm allowed to talk first, just a couple of minutes to sum it up really briefly. You see a lot of jurisdictions right now, like Gibraltar, Bermuda, Malta, Switzerland, Liechtenstein, promoting themselves as being crypto-friendly. As a lawyer, I would like to suggest you guys do a checklist before you choose a jurisdiction, before you vote with a feet and go somewhere to do your project, because right now it's not about pure ICO and just raising money. It's doing normal business in a country, and blockchain regulation and being crypto-friendly is just a part of the country and part of the jurisdiction. You have to look at the whole thing, how economy works, how business works there. Talk to other projects, what is their experience, because in some countries they have good regulations, but the banks don't play together. And of course there is this, you have to find a balance between timeline, cost of the jurisdiction, and your purpose. For the beginning, Estonia and Gibraltar might be good for private label projects, for pure private resale, it might be good. But once you get really serious, Malta, Switzerland, Liechtenstein. That's my personal opinion. I hope no one from other jurisdictions gets offended.
May I ask, what about Singapore?
Well, I've talked with Malcolm Tan just a week ago. You know him, he's a well-known professional. For utilities, it works, but I don't do security tokens there. Because it's heavily regulated and the costs are getting prohibitively high for projects. That's what I've heard from him. I'm just sharing this opinion.
Just one question regarding Gibraltar. Sorry, I don't turn on the mic there.
Turn the microphone.
Yeah.
That's magic.
Question about Gibraltar.
Sorry, I don't have an agenda.
Yeah.
I'm based in Switzerland. I know about the Swiss regulation, but I'd just like to understand your point when you say, well, when you want to get serious, you don't want to stay in Gibraltar, which is essentially what you said. You know, what is the rationale here? Why wouldn't you want to stay in Gibraltar over the long term?
I don't want to offend anyone. I just try to be objective. Pure former offshore jurisdictions that didn't have a really functioning legal system. What is a good legal system or quality of a jurisdiction? You can really understand when you end up in a worst case scenario. And in a lot of them, unfortunately, we see a lot of worst case scenarios as lawyers.
it doesn't work the way it's written on the papers and they are loose. That's my major concern. It's something you cannot really measure. Yeah.
May I add something to that? My name is Andre Rüdel, I'm with the KPMG. I'm a crypto economist and we work with a lot of ICOs, mainly in Liechtenstein and in Switzerland, but also in Malta and other places. From a pure market point of view, I think it's extremely important to have, especially nowadays, market condition, best possible reputation. And with Malta, with Gibraltar, the political situation currently is quite demanding. I mean, you saw that news today with the Spanish government, which is putting a brake on the Brexit negotiation as long as the situation is with Gibraltar is not cleared. So I think trying to sell in this market conditions, I token is already demanding. I wouldn't add complexity to it by going to jurisdictions where the political and economic future is not clear for the time being.
Thank you very much for your additional comment. Andre, sorry for not introducing you in the proper way. It started so chaotically, but let me also introduce you with one more speaker who was scheduled, Matthias Heiss. He is from the CryptoCoin Pro, that is the exchange and listing platform for startups. That's in Estonia, and opening now the additional offices and obtaining licenses in other jurisdictions. So, Matthias, just on the topic of the jurisdictions, can you please add from your side, why did you choose Estonia as the headquarters, and why do you apply in other jurisdictions?
Yeah, sure, thank you. Hi everyone, nice to meet you. I'm head of business development at CryptoCoin Pro. We chose Estonia for cost reasons and also because it's much faster in obtaining the licenses for the brokerage services and also the wallet services. We applied for the e-money institute license as well as the security token listing license, but we are not sure when we will get it in Estonia, so we are going simultaneously for it in Switzerland and also other jurisdictions because we are based in Luxembourg, Estonia, Switzerland, we have a partner in Canada as well, and also in Romania. So we are basically pivoting to whichever jurisdiction will issue the licenses first. And it also needs to be a jurisdiction that is well respected. Let's say it's a stable government, it's not an offshore haven or whatever.
And that's why we're all in Switzerland. Perfect jurisdiction, one of perfect ones. Tell me please, Matthias, Janina, Andre, and Antonio. We actually wanted also to touch the point. Right now there are so many discussions around ICOs, and if 1 year ago these discussions were positive and we were discussing how many what is the coin market cap, what is the capitalization of this market, how it will substitute actually the traditional VC funding, and we will never hear again about traditional rounds, ABC, and traditional venture investments. And now we are hearing absolutely opposite and sometimes counter-opposite opinions that some people say ICO will disappear, some people say that it will be transformed 100% to the security token offering and never again utility or whatever. So what do our prominent experts think about that? Is it true that we have dramatic changes now in this market? Andre, let's start from you.
Thank you. Well, I mean, I don't think you have to comment on the market conditions currently, as well as for Bitcoin, Ethereum, and for ICOs. What we see is still a demand for our clients who are determined to launch an ICO, and with an ICO, I'm saying a utility token ICO. And that's at the same time bold, but also quite educational, because our clients, they try to find new solutions. We call that hybrid financing solutions, and I think that's an interesting way going forward. Hybrid meaning that they are aiming for at the same time equity or debt financing and token financing. And token financing, I'm talking about utility tokens. And we have put some thinking to it, and we believe that that might be a model to stay and to survive the actual ICO craze. I'm pretty much convinced that we will not see the ICO utility token funding scheme going entirely away, as, for example, the crowd lending, crowd investing, and crowdfunding financing model is also still around. So we will also see the crypto crowdfunding around, but it will change towards a hybrid model where we have more equity and utility token financing together. The beauty about such model is actually that you can benefit from two things. One is from return on investment on your equity investment, but also on the other hand, if it's well solidly constructed, from increased liquidity and from a crowdfunding effect of such a financing model.
Thank you.
If I may just add a question to the experts here. So are you saying that the models that are going to be surviving will be a hybrid model between, call it traditional debt and equity plus utility, or then the other alternative is a security token? Are these the two main ways that you, as an expert, see coming out of this process?
Yeah, that's correct. I mean, for me, the crowdfunding, or the beauty of the crowdfunding is in the utility token. The security token is basically the same as an equity or bond financing, but just, you know, on the blockchain. This is nothing new. But the utility token actually captures the network effect and allows actually the small guys to invest into a project, or I would rather say contribute to a project. A utility token funded project should be a project where I actually can sell tokens or use my tokens, but also earn my tokens. And that's the novelty in this financing project. So what I'm saying, we're going to have either a hybrid financing model or then obviously the securities token model.
So from the project's perspective, there is a statistic saying that the rating agencies, the so-called rating agencies, you have to fill in a form as a startup where you answer something like 25 questions. And nowadays, starting from summer 2018, I think, or even September, October 2018, if there is no security function inside your project, you get like 1.1 out of 5 mark. So imagine that if there is no security function, then you are dead even without being born. You know, 1 year ago that was not possible because utility function only could be given a 5 mark or maybe 4.8. So nowadays it's not possible.
We have here ICO rating agency, but unfortunately I don't see them among the participants of this panel. So it would be interesting to ask them why they set up this kind of scoring system. But if they will join us later, we will definitely ask. Vincent, I have seen you were shaking the head.
Yes, sorry. It's about the utility token model. You see that companies are increasingly resorting to this model. I think that there is a misalignment with the utility token model in which a company sells forward its production, right? But at the same time, a company should has the fiduciary responsibility of defending its shareholder interests. So I don't see how, as a company, you can sell forward your production without giving a raw deal to the people you sell the production forward to, because you should care about the shareholder interest first. So I don't really see how this works over the long term. Not to name it, but there is a company at OPFL in Lausanne who is currently doing a utility token fundraise with a well-known bank in Switzerland. And if you do the math, you see that they are selling forward 200 years worth of production of a single production unit that they have. It's 2 centuries of something that is quite high technology, you know. So I don't understand why companies would go to do this unless if they think they can get a better deal by selling to retail investors who don't understand what they're buying into. And I have a problem with that. even if I'm not an investor, but I think, you know, how can it work over the long term? Sorry for being disruptive, maybe, but...
Can you just elaborate? What do you mean in production, selling forward the production?
The way I understand a utility token is the following. Let's say you have a cinema, a movie theater, and you can sell a utility token which will represent one ticket of your movie theater, right? So your movie theater can only sell this amount of tickets per day. So let's say if you sell 10 million utility token in your movie theater, then you're selling your production forward for as many years as it takes for you to cater for 10 million spectators. This is what I meant.
And here we come to the types of tokens and their understanding and differentiation. So who wants to clarify this?
Can I just add, because what you are saying, so in my previous life, I was a commodity trader. So, okay, all right. So you know that it's absolutely normal to sell production forward in order to generate cash, right? So it's just, well, you sell future production, but you're actually generating cash because the client to whom you're selling to is probably prepaying to you, I don't know, 50% of the price, whatever. That's just a mean to generate additional cash flow. I'm not quite sure how that works in the crypto world, but I guess it would probably be the same thing, where you sell forward something just to generate cash today. So and that's what happens in the commodity.
So it works if you're selling soybeans, it works. But if you're selling production time on a reactor which produces synthetic diamonds, how do you actually know how much it's going to be worth? I mean,
I wouldn't be able to answer that because that's not my world. But I mean, like in agriculture and in soft commodities and mineral and mining products, it's absolutely the usual procedure.
Yeah, I agree, but those are commodities.
Yeah, right, sure.
Very briefly. So now you are talking about the way utility token could be upgraded. For example, utility token in 2017 was literally something like a cinema ticket. So it's a very good example, so let's keep it that simple. But you are now talking about the cinema ticket in 2019. So in 2019, it could be possible that you buy a membership inside a certain loyalty program. And if you buy, let's say, cinema tickets for 10,000 euros, it means that the whole year you may be able to visit Avengers 4, Avengers 5, and blah, 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 blah. So we're talking about utility token version 2.0. That's it.
Andreas, thank you very much for helping here. But I would suggest actually that maybe we first involve the speakers who planned to share their knowledge base because people were asking for the speakers, they were waiting for them to share their knowledge on this topic. And then, because otherwise we will not have time for speakers to share their expertise, okay? So, guys, maybe if I may ask, maybe if we have further time, then you can add comments, okay? Thank you very much. Let's keep regulated. Andre, you wanted to answer about on the question.
Well, quick remark. I know the project you're referring to. It's a bit more complex than what you described. Just a nutshell, and then we should continue the discussion. There is indeed a conflict of interest between shareholders and utility token holders, but there are possibilities to mitigate this conflict of interest.
Well, as Andre already talked about new models instead of, in addition to ICOs coming to the market, I would like come back to security token offerings because it seems to be the major trend for now, because it gives certain rules what you can promise to the investors and what are you liable for. But that is the answer, and that is, I guess, the major issue with the utility tokens, so it seems to be like that. So yes, but the situation with issuing security tokens, it's all new land for all the market participants, for both the regulators. They have laws in Malta. The laws are coming into force at the beginning of 2019 in Liechtenstein. There are not so many jurisdictions right now where you can issue security tokens, first of all. Second, one of my major concerns is the cost of issuing security tokens might be prohibitively high for some of the projects. That's why maybe the model with hybrid financing would also compete with security tokens, because the cost of it is pretty high. And another thing, but it's a major issue for all the blockchain projects, is banks. It takes 2 to 3 months to get a project onboarded, and that's too long.
It is, and in CryptoCoin Pro, when you assess the startups, when you actually decide whom you would like to list on your platform, whom you would like to provide this opportunity, what do you go for usually? What do you prefer? Securities, utilities?
We prefer utilities, of course, because currently we cannot list securities. The license is still not here, and we don't know when it will come. So, of course, right now it's only utilities. With utilities, and it's mainly compliance we are concerned with. So, all the AML, customer due diligence, where is the company based, jurisdictions, and so on, in order that it's compliant with our licenses. So, we cannot accept, for example, in Estonia, a project from the US and so on. So we have to assess that with our compliance team for every project separately. It's not like a checklist which every ICO can send in, and we don't have to do any compliance. It's for every project a complete compliance procedure.
Andreas mentioned about hybrid finance model. So you also can provide the infrastructure for this kind of fundraising model. I mean, equity and utility.
But basically, we don't provide the infrastructure for that. If you sell equity, you do that yourselves. Then what we provide is that an investor can also invest directly with fiat money, not only with crypto, in the token sale. So the equity part is done by the company, but all the crypto or fiat stuff with the token sale, we can do over our platform.
Thanks a lot, Andrea. You said that hybrid finance will be most probably the most demanded model on the next several years or in the short-term future. Can you please just clarify a little bit? When we prepared this panel, you mentioned that it is very advantageous model because when the equity part, market price goes down, then the token can be a kind of hedged and the token price can go up. So how can we use this model? How does this model works applied to startups, and how can it be applied for tokenization of the real sector of economy, of real businesses, like for instance manufacturers or airlines or?
Well, I have come back to your question, but I mean one interesting point would be if you would start an airline, would you imagine that you could actually, instead of selling equity or bonds, selling airline miles? That would be some sort of a utility token financing model. And I think that sounds to most of us rightly a little bit crazy. I mean, you know, funding an airline by selling airline miles instead of equity or bonds. However, you would think about maybe by sell 90% of my fund my project, 95% is equity, but I have a small part which is sold by the selling of airline miles. That would be a possibility. And what we first of all see, we always look at the market. The market now clearly tends to a solution where, at least at the beginning, angel investment is used to then fund an ICO. But these angel investors, they want something in return for that. And what can be offered are a variety of possibilities. One is just simple equity financing. Another one is to avoid this conflict of interest or mitigate conflict of interest is by paying dividends in form of tokens. That would be a possibility. Another possibility which has been looked at is actually a convertible equity token system where you can exchange or actually do a buyback of the equity and give tokens instead. That increases the liquidity. If you are a seed investor, angel investor, you have zero liquidity on your shares. But assuming that the token is traded on exchange, is successfully liquid, you can actually exchange your equity investment into a token and then sell it. And a fourth possibility is actually to have a token convertible into shares, which increases actually the validity of the token, gives more reputation to the token. So a lot of things to play with. I'm not saying that we have now here a clear solution, but we just follow the market and try to understand what's going on. But I mean, this is just my personal view. We see, question here.
If you don't mind, that's one of my favorite topics, the equity tokens. I understand you're referring to the Securosys model. They are currently raising, 20 million, and indeed the tokens that can be converted into equity. My question is very specific. Why issue tokens which can be converted into equity instead of issuing tokens which are the ownership of the equity, which you can do in Switzerland relatively easily?
Everything is possible. I can't give you an answer why, but just see that this is a possible model. But you know what? Why don't we take that up bilaterally? Because I mean, there are much other topics, and certainly other speakers who have something to contribute to this topic as well. It's not just maybe a hand over the microphone.
Who wants to answer this question?
You don't answer.
Let's take it to the one.
So actually, we have like 5 minutes left. According to the program, because it was already quite delayed. So I suggest you guys, if you have any questions, raise your hands and just ask your questions. Would be nice also if you can address it to a particular speaker or just ask the questions if you don't understand. If you understand everything also, just say yes. Everything is clear. And then I will ask my question. So yeah, I hope then everything is fine. And just summarizing what is going on, Janina, please, what is your expectation?
Just one question to everyone here, some startups. Who of you is going to do crowdfunding, just pure crowdfunding without private pre-sale?
Crowdfunding.
Like what is called ICO? Startups are not here?
Not here yet, one of them.
Okay. Are you going to do like pure crowdfunding, pure ICO thing?
Well, it's for a project, but I'm looking for solutions for crowdfunding, so I don't know if that's applicable to your question.
Okay, because what we see right now, the main trend, as you said, is hybrid investment when you have both token and equity. In our project, what we mostly see that startups focus on normal VC investment, like they try to raise money mostly within the private pre-sale, and if everything goes well, then they have the money for security token offering.
Thank you, Nina. Matthias?
Yeah, what I would say is don't get too depressed with the market right now. If your product is great and you might be willing to sell some equity in the private rounds and then do a token sale, I still think there is a market for that, and then you will get the amount of money you need to realize the project. But work with realistic numbers, it's not last year or the year before. So really do your due diligence on your project and don't come with a white paper, maybe have an MVP ready. So just a little more than we had here last year.
Thank you, Matthias. Andreas, you're the same positive? You'll get your money if you make a good quality project, good due diligence, and all the legal stuff done?
Yeah, I mean, there are a lot of things which can be done nowadays to make a project fly, but I think technology is definitely important, management team is important, maybe getting some seed angels on board, to assure management quality, and I think that most forward is actually a real model for utility token which makes sense, meaning I can actually spend my tokens, but I also can earn tokens. Without that, the utility token doesn't really make sense. So just giving a discount on a future project is not really sexy enough and won't help you to have your ICO successful.
Well, thank you very much. And just the last short sentence to summarize, because indeed, while preparing the panel, we were kind of betting that the majority of the audience, if we ask you, many of you have tokens. not your own tokens, but you have bought sometimes somewhere a token of some company. But please raise your hands if you bought a token and used it for utility purposes, not for speculation, not for keeping it on your wallet and checking the market price, but really used it for the feature it gives. Any hand? 1, 2, 3. Wow, bravo, 4, 5. Given that we do not have 1,000 people here.
This is already 5%.
Yes, this is like 5%. And exactly like in your slide. So, guys, it's important that if you want to understand how this economy works and you want really to be involved in this economy, you should understand that the tokens should be used not just for speculation, but actually, if we speak about utilities, they should provide some utilities. So buy them and use them as a feature, as a provider of some useful stuff for you. Thank you very much. I really am very grateful for our experts, Matthias, Janina, Andreas. Thank you very much. Guys who jumped in just to provide emotional support and ask very interesting questions. Thank you very much as well. And right now we will move to the startup competition, which was in parallel during these 2 days and actually 2 months before, which was handling by InMind and partnering teams and companies in order to find out what will be the next big thing in the market.
So round of applause. Thank you so much for the panel. Please, everything just stand here in front. We have a photographer for you. Just get Nelly. Okay, that's where we're coming to the finale. As said as it is, Kate will now announce the winners, the results of the competition, as said that we've been going on for the last 2 days. So please, if you can just take your seats, it will be a short announcement, I promise you. Startups, where are the startups? Any startups here? 1,
Yes.
2? Any? Oh, we have a few. Okay, this is again emotional support, so Kate, the floor is yours.
So I would also like to ask those who are hesitating to enter or not, please enter and take the seats. So thanks for all the startups for participation. As Nelly mentioned, it was quite a long time that they have been working with our team directly or indirectly with mentors, with experts. And it was great competition yesterday. Thanks for all the participants. Now I would like to announce the 2 winners. It's really great to see that 2 projects received exactly the same scores from the juries. So we have 2 winners based on the jury's choice. But before that, before I mention the projects, I would actually like to invite 2 jury members to give just a couple of words to summarize what was there yesterday on the pitch. How was it going? So please, Bora Abuchina and Janina Petrovska, just a couple of words about your impression about yesterday's competition.
Okay, if I'm allowed to start, ladies first. I'm going to use it. Guys, I wanted to thank the InMind and all the startups because it's a great organization, you know. The startups, they've been pre-selected 2 months in advance from like how many?
Well, I guess all from different countries.
No, many. How many? Like 1,000 or?
There were a few hundred. Yes, there were a few hundred applications.
That they had to work through, you know. And we, as a jury, as members, also had to look through 13 projects altogether. We received a table with information, and we had to comment on all of them. And then in the morning, we had the mentoring sessions for all of them. But I have to know. Like all the mentors, they appeared in time. But guys, startups, don't do this anymore, please. They really were late, half an hour. Some even didn't appear at all. Guys, me as a businesswoman, I have a mentor myself who's much more successful in business than I am. I don't even dare to appear 5 minutes late to session with her because her time is so precious. See, she's done so much. So please, next time you have any mentor coaching session, appear in time, because we were there for you, to use us to make your pitch deck better. The pitching sessions were really great, loved it a lot. Just to be objective, I have to mention, we didn't really assess the project itself, we just assessed your pitch deck. If the pitch deck was good, everything what's important for investor was there, you got the highest scores. Well, that's basically summary from my side. Thank you a lot.
Thank you. Thank you.
Okay, thanks for the micro. Great to be here. Thanks for inviting me. It was an honor to be in the jury, to see all those startups at different stages from the point of view as I saw it. Some were a little bit more mature, others perhaps a little bit more in the beginning. It was very interesting to see you. Perhaps one thing I would like to give you home is if you do have a presentation, don't try to put everything in that presentation. You have about 5 minutes. Don't try to squeeze 15 or 20 minutes in 5 minutes by speaking faster and faster and faster, because at the end of the day, the people sitting there or a future investor needs to understand you. So slow down, pay attention to your voice, pay a little bit attention to your body language. It's for me very interesting as an expert in nonverbal communication. I look a lot on that. So pay a little bit of attention on that, modulate your voice, and try to transport emotions. Because we all have the impression to be rational people, but we decide only based on emotions. So if you can transport emotions to the people, if you reach them emotionally, they will believe in you, they will help you, they will bring you further, and you will reach your final goals. And who reached the final goal today is the announcement of my colleague. I thank you a lot and hope to see you soon again somewhere in the world with all the success you have with your startups. Thank you.
Thank you. So now it's time to announce the winners. We have, as I mentioned, two winning teams. So I'm inviting to the stage the team of Futurepia and the team of Crypto Index. Thank you guys. So as the gift, as a small actually. So as the winners, the startups are getting the roadshow in Switzerland from In My Team. Also, the winning teams get from our partner, BitConsult, from the sponsor of these wonderful nanoledgers. Each of the teams will get 3 nanoledgers. I have only one like this with me, but don't worry, they are waiting for you on the. Don't run away, so you will get them. And as well, the winners are receiving the boxes from another sponsor, Red Bull. So that's you can work even more productive. All right, and I would like you guys now also to take the opportunity now that we have all the people together, ready to listen to you and give a pitch. So I don't know if you have someone who wants to start. Do you have mutual agreement? Okay, Futuropia, I see that you were pointed out. So I would like the team of Futuropia to start their pitch. You have, the rules are the same. You have 5 minutes, you have fit your presentation in 5 minutes. And as it was mentioned, without without speeding up, it is not a competition.
Okay, I really thank you to juries and voters. So it's really an honor for us to give our pitch to this wonderful audience, even if it's a little bit small number. Yeah, anyway, so should we start now?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay. Yeah. You know, I want to tell you why many high traffic services coming to us, escaping from EOS or Ethereum. Actually, we want to be a EOS killer now, as EOS was once Ethereum killer. As we already know, there's some problems in existing famous Ethereum and EOS. EOS already raised 4 billion ICO before, but they're still having some network down instance. As you already know, Ethereum too slow, and EOS, they're allowing coin holders to use so much of network with CPU or RAM play. Recently, one Chinese high-maker company successfully hacked Ethereum and EOS through EVM. So let's see how we are solving this problem. We basically provide stable, fast DD-Boost mainnet, and with various API for dApp developers and dApp Store for traded for users. And we also provide independent stable mainnet to government or big enterprise. We got recently 300,000 TPS certificate from COLAS, a global certificate organization. And we already developed more than 100 APIs for dApp developers. Some of them are already up and running, like Wallet. And in Futuropia, dApp developers write directly to blockchain through RPC for stronger security, instead of writing to EVM, which is Ethereum or EOS methods, which can be easily hacked by hackers. End of this year, we're opening the SQL integrate mainnet too. So this will make it easy for every developer in the world to develop decentralized app with their familiar languages. We already finished the development of our DD-Boost mainnet. Our version is based on DPost 2, but we redesigned it to make it more secure by replacing 4 out of 21 block producers with randomly selected monitoring nodes called block observer. We call this as double DPost. And that 4 block observers randomly selected from the pool of more than 100 block observer to monitor block producer. And this makes the security stronger, protecting block producer from civil attacks and inner collision. And new block is created according to a preset order in each single round. However, this order changes randomly in each round to prevent malicious attack. You can see here the 4 nodes are newly selected at random, and also the sequence of block produced nodes is changed. Okay.
Thank you. Okay, in order to get to Futuropia dApp Store or exchange, which is already developed, you as a dApp should pass through a certain voting process performed by our coin holders. Also, if your dApp is really cool, you can get extra support from us in the form of Futuropia coins to pay our transaction fees in the future. So here you see the first list of dApp candidates who are already migrating from Ethereum or EOS to our mainnet. And the good thing is that many of them are not just startups, but already running businesses. So we are committed to have hundreds of millions of transactions to be performed on our mainnet
next year. Also, if your DApp needs more than 1,000 TPS, or if you're a huge organization, you can use our mainnet as an independent private network. So here are the first use cases of our customers who we already committed to have $2 million revenue from these huge South Korean organizations. And it's evident that for our public mainnet, the more high traffic dApps we have aborted, the higher is the price of future peer coin. So we're doing very well in the South Korean market. Now we are planning to scale our product internationally. So for that, we have already successfully raised 10 million in April in Ethereum. Now we are planning to raise the soft cap of 20 million, and our current offer is 42% discount to our token price, and we are also open for equity investment. And who is going to do this? Our founders, Young, who is the genius of social media and heavy traffic applications. He's the founder of Cyworld, very well-known social media. Jin Young is the technical guy with 20 years experience in database distributed network, working for Samsung. And there are 35 team members who have been developing FuturePeer for 3 years, and including 20 developers, to make it the strongest blockchain for heavy traffic apps. Thank you.
We're willing to take one question if anyone has something to say about it. If not, we can push on. Any questions? Well, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Hello everyone, I'm Arthur, CEO of CryptoMDX, and with me is my colleague, Toure, he's our CTO. And we can start, good? Okay, this works. Oh, we just move, okay, correct. So, let me give you an update of what we're trying to solve. So, there are being a lot of crypto funds stolen every year, and it's getting more and more. This is the information by CipherTrace, so it's tripled within a year. But we know, of course, there's a lot more funds being stolen. And this happens for a reason. So essentially, a lot of people make risky crypto investments, and that's bad. And that happens because people perform bad research. And you cannot really blame them for performing bad research because you can't really find all the information you need to assess the risks. And it becomes time-consuming. Every day it becomes more effort-heavy, and it's inconsistent information. So we thought, how about we create something like a Wikipedia of the market, and what we call it like a special data-driven crypto registry. The reason we say it's special because it's not static information about the crypto market, but we are building technological, economical, and the security profiles, which are the foundation for assessing the risks. So here are some screenshots from our website. It's already online. If you go to cryptomdx.io, you'll find out. So here you see the profile, the price history, the exchanges, what's going on in the exchange with that coin. You see the technology, and there's a security part to it. So here's some screenshots. Yeah. So what we really do, we've built this public registry and it's free. Right now we have the basic profile in there, we have the technological profile, the economic security. Of course, there are a lot more features to come in the future, but the ones that are coming soon within the next few weeks, well, we're going to add up some market overview, so you can have the general idea what's going on with the market. You can have the comparison of the currencies. Like, when you go to apple.com, you're trying to compare different iPhones. So we're going to bring all these nice features, so as an investor, as a trader, or any person who wants to compare to get an idea of the market or the currencies can have it. Of course, we're going to try to have a full mobile support. This is something we haven't done yet, and better design. And that's not where we earn our money. The thing is that to do all of this, we've mined a lot of data, and we've analyzed it. And that's why we decided to go with the subscription model and provide an enterprise API. Okay, and this is what to expect pretty soon. So what's our secret sauce? So we have this cool research team, and we constantly research the distributed systems, their theory, what's going on in there, as well as the crypto market economy. And this is a reason for doing those, because we really understand that in order to really assess the risk, you need to go from the core, from the foundation, and those are the foundations. Blockchain is just a sub-example of distributed systems. There are a lot more. So we do those researches, and we build our proprietary algorithms. And the way we do it, essentially, we're taking in the technological parameters from the public networks. and we're taking the economical parameters from the exchanges. And what we do, we essentially first we analyze, is it technically feasible? So can hackers technically make the attack? Then if they can make the attack, does it financially make sense for them to do it? So combining those two important parameters, we come up with a security index and a way to estimate the risks. And essentially, we already detected some issues, and if you go online, you can find out, especially during the last week when all of the volatility was happening, you can already see that some currencies got very, very vulnerable. So what's our market and what's our business model in more detail? So what we're trying to do is essentially we're selling data and analytics. And we're trying to provide services to the companies who are providing their service to 30 million users out there. So there are about 200 plus exchanges, there are about 1,000 plus cryptocurrencies, and only in Switzerland, there are about 600 plus companies. And the way we do essentially, we're directly approaching them and we're trying to sell our data. You can connect to our API, and with pay-as-you-go model, you can get it. As well as there's a possibility to work with the software outsource companies. If they are being our dealers and trying to sell our data, they can of course be incentivized and get a commission from our sales. So what's the value proposition for the businesses? Essentially, if you try to do all of this in-house with your developers, with the small information we have right now, and it's about 25 cryptocurrencies and about 10 exchanges. Well, you're going to spend around $10,000 if you try to optimize to hire developers from East Europe or something. If you use our API, you only need one developer, and you only need to pay for the average price of the enterprise API. And with a small database, you save about 50K per year. You save a lot of micromanagement, and you save your increasing cost of service and integrations. But let's say we improve our database, we have a larger scope. It's going to save you about $500,000 every year. And the future business models that we noticed, there's a lot of people, private investors who care about their investments, so they were requesting having their own crypto portfolio security management tool. So essentially, they sign up and they get a push notification if an attack happening or if their funds are in trouble. As well as there have been some coins, tokens and wallets that express their interest in being listed in our platform, which is something that will come up in the future. So the funding we're trying to raise and the goals for our late 2019 are as follows. We're trying to raise 600K seed round funding, which will help to last for about a year. And the reason we're doing this is because we want to add up cool features, we want to start our sales, and what we really want to do is to patent our algorithm. And the interesting part is that our algorithm is not just a formula, it's a methodology, it's an approach how to estimate the security of the distributed system. It doesn't matter whether it's a blockchain network, whether it's a Microsoft service, Google Cloud, so distributed systems, or Amazon's Dynamo. It works for all of those. And our sales goal is essentially to have 10 B2B clients by the end of 2019 using our enterprise API, and about 150K website visitors per month, active users essentially. And the thing we're going to do essentially, we're going to integrate AI to improve our analytics and start to forecast what will happen. And at the same time, we're going to increase our database scope, and instead of 25 points, we'll have 100. Instead of 10 exchanges, there will be 50. Instead of security indexes working for the proof of work, it will work for proof of stake, delegated proof of stake, and other protocols. So here you can see the two of the team members. I'm the CEO, I'm by profession, I'm a chemical and nuclear engineer, and I'm the research guy essentially. And here's with us our CTO, Mamadou Toure, who has 10 plus years of experience of working with Silicon Valley and Boston startups. And we are adding up our team with cool team members from LA who are experienced in system engineering, people who have been doing algorithm trading in Singapore, and we're essentially trying to pivot really fast. We're trying to have small cycles of getting feedbacks and delivering cool features. And the only way we can do it is to have very strong team members. This is it. Thank you, and we will be happy to answer all of your questions. And before we do that, I would like to thank you, the jury members. I would like to thank you, everyone who approached us, everyone who asked us a question, and the organizer, of course. Thank you.
Thank you. I think everyone had enough of the questions.
Thank you very much, guys, for presenting again, and one more time, congratulations, you did a great job. So you know that we had a jury, offline jury, which actually participated in the assessment during 2 months before the event. So we received more than 230 applications, less than 17, I think 15 startups were accepted. They passed pre-selection procedure, and only 2 were selected and invited as winners and journalists. And you know that we also had this voting, online voting on the blockchain, provided by the company, by company Polis, and we wanted to announce now the 3rd winner according to the public voting, and also to give you the opportunity to have touch and feeling how does blockchain work, because you know that voting and elections on blockchain are quite popular applications of this technology, especially in the public sector or corporate sector. But due to the mistake, one of the startups was not presented in this voting menu. So when people voted, they could not choose, they could not see one of the startups presenting their projects. That is why, unfortunately, we cannot announce the winner. Alternative method could be actually to revote right now with those people who are here. But let me know if you agree to do it or not, because the startup who was selected on this online voting system, they are of course upset because they see that they got a lot of voices and supporters and a lot of attention, but we cannot announce them as winners because it will be unfair, especially for that company who was not listed in the system due to the mistake of our staff. So I know that all of you are tired, but are you ready to invest 1 more minute of your time to revote? Yeah? Thank you very much. So, do you all know how to do it? No? Are you joking? During 2 days we were trying to explain how does it work. During 2 days.
I have
Barcode.
Can you show it on the
No,
presentation?
it's not possible to scan barcode. Idea for the new startup, by the way, to be able to capture barcode. So how does this video work? Can we somehow provide barcode here on the screen? Guys on the control, can you please, yeah. Barcode, voting, yeah, they are doing it now. Maria, show this if you are doing it now, yeah? So it will be resolved during the next 10 seconds, actually. And also, can I invite here, please, the jury members who did, oh, sorry, yes. They're sitting here, so please, welcome to the stage also. I would love you to say a few words about how you assess startups. Kirill from ICO Rating, please. Don't hide. Yeah, I know that you already...
Okay. We did the introduction with Kate already. We told how we assess startups.
Okay, perfect. So, okay, they already shared with you how did they assess the projects. You already know everything, and now the screen will show you the QR code explaining how to do it. Can please anyone also invite here Katerina Voronova? Okay. So okay, we are in Blockchain Leadership Summit. We speak about technology, but let's just Yes, do an all-star judgment. So among the companies which were presenting their projects on the startup competition, there was Hotel Friends company. Did you all remember them? Yeah? Can you raise your hands? Okay, then you remember them. So would you vote for them? Yeah, I see. Okay, then sorry, it was my idea to revote in order to provide some kind of fair conditions, but due to technical issues and due to the fact that not every one of people presented here were really listening to the startup pitches, and it will be very, stupid if I ask you to vote for the companies which you have no clue about, their projects and etc. So I apologize for this, and I want to greet those two companies who had the fair voting, not voting, but assessment of the jury, and who really won the prize. I would say during hard competition process. I know what it took you to do this. I know that you had a tough flight. You had to prepare. You had to talk with mentors. You had to organize all your business models and etc. Fill in profiles, fill in another applications forms. That was disaster, but finally you did it, and I hope it was this. So I want to announce that the prize is the roadshow to Switzerland, fully organized, sponsored by InMind. So we will schedule the meetups where you will present your projects to the local community. We also have agreements with venture companies and funds from Switzerland and Liechtenstein who are waiting for you here for meetings in their offices. So we will be happy to do it for you. Oh, we have QR code now. We have QR code now, so let's at least make one small attempt to be fair and to try vote on blockchain. And you will understand how it works. So you scan the QR code, and then with your telephone you will be redirected to the website where you will see the page. Give me again for confusing one more time. Now, I want you here, please. Just additional bonus from Talkatron. Who is not only MC but also the Guru Accelerator ecosystem in Israel and quite a lot of other countries in the world. He is an experienced mentor supporting startups during the last how many years?
8, I would say.
So he provides additional bonus, 5 hours of mentoring sessions for each of your projects, but Tal can explain himself.
Nothing much to explain. The thing is this, we will contact you and we will support you as much as we can on some of the networking that we have for sure in Israel. We're not gonna give you money, so relax. But we are gonna give you skills and experience, and if something transpires to be a business or your next investment, we'll be most happy. We will not take any of it, okay, it's all yours. It's with our support, through InMind, and the pleasure of this company, okay? So we're happy to give you this.
Also, let me please give you some prizes.
This is their
startups. Who is coming for this?
Sitting there, wake up, come here, get the best picture ever. I'm behind you. You're safe. Or no? Yeah.
Can you make one more photo? Sorry, because it was a photo with a QR code. One more. Thank you.